So, it's the day after No Coast. I'm not going to do a Scotch and a beer because obviously I was running No Coast. Still feeling super duper haggard. So I'm just going to do a Officer Dan review of the events that transpired at No Coast Drift Party 9. But first I want to show you the aftermath of my trailer because it started pouring rain right as we were leaving. We were just tossing everything in here in an attempt to escape the downpour. Gonna need to clean that out. It's looking a little bit haggard. Everything's covered in dirt and sand, but this thing's in there, and that makes me very happy. Pulled it out under its own power, put it back in under its own power. It was a good day. Any tires were consumed this weekend? Where to even begin? I'm still so haggard. I need like a week to recover after every No Coast. Not usually because of the event, but all the stuff leading up to the event. I guess I'll start with the 3 to 4 weeks leading up to each and every No Coast. I spend that time coming up with the design, burning screens, printing the shirts, printing the hats, making posters, getting stickers done. On top of that, I was on set a bunch of days, so every day on set was usually like 12 hours plus. Then immediately after being on set, getting off at night, I would, oh my god, these flies. After being on set, I would roll out to Heritage Driven, where Scottie Fox would be waiting for me, and we would begin working on the car almost every single night for the past 4 weeks or so, until usually 3 or so in the morning. Needless to say, it's been a rough 4 weeks. We finished the car at like 4 a.m. on Thursday night, which would have been Friday morning, aka the start of No Coast Drift Party 9. We had so many problems getting it running, ranging from finding more smashed lines to more smashed wiring harnesses, to getting the wrong parts in the mail that didn't fit with this particular setup. That being a starter, the throwout bearing, a bunch of different wires for my gauges that I got the wrong ones of. And I was getting really worried that we weren't going to make it because I would have to overnight parts, which we ended up having to do. The explosion that happened in the car had bent the frame rails enough to where the headers had now pinched my fuel lines, and so we needed to rerun fuel lines, and I literally cannot thank Scottie Fox enough for everything that he did. He did not have to do any of it, and I don't know why we still work on stupid race cars, but I really enjoy being over there with him. I don't necessarily like punk rock music, but when I'm working with Scottie, I love it. And every night, we just jam punk rock until Pandora or Slacker or whatever radio station we had it on would decide that we wanted to listen to pop music, and then we would have to reset it. Anyway, that's a different story altogether. So this No Coast was a little bit different than our normal No Coasts. We went Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we had Friday night drifting, which was awesome. We had drifting all day Saturday and drifting all day Sunday, and literally had to kick people off the track for the first time. Normally on Sunday, most of the people leave, and we get to shut the track down early, which makes life much, much easier. We literally had to kick people off the track at 5 p.m. because they were still wanting to shred. And I wanted to let them shred, but I was tired as hell from the last 4 weeks of my life leading up to this point. The event was awesome. This is hands down the best No Coast that I think we've had so far. I cannot thank my start line guys enough. They did a fan-freaking-tastic job all weekend. They're my go-to guys. I love you. Thank you guys for kicking ass and taking names. Always fun to be on the radio. They were organized as we could be, and they made the show happen. So thanks, Startline boys. Especially Bubba Price from ABQ Auto Brokers. Like I said, he's been supporting these drift events for the last 4 years plus. Cash prizes, getting guest drivers out. Same thing this year. He chipped in towards LZ. Getting tires and setting up the cars and so forth. So huge thanks to ABQ Auto Brokers for helping New Mexico drifting stay New Mexico drifting. We also had Spec Clutch in the mix. Spec gave a clutch to our winners of our drift series this season, which is really awesome. Appreciate those guys for doing that. They've been with me since the very beginning of my professional driving career and still are to this day. So thank you, Spec, for still being on board. And the most important person of the weekend to me is, of course, going to be my wife. She manned the Whiskey Garage booth for like 5 hours on Friday. She manned the Whiskey Garage booth from like 10 a.m. until almost 10 p.m. on Saturday, which was ridiculous. Slinging event t-shirts. I could not do this event without her. So thanks, babe. You're the best. We were having issues with our point of sale stuff, so my phone had to stay down to take PayPal payments and whatnot, and I literally got no pictures, no footage, no posts from No Coast Drift Party 9 because my phone was busy making money. This year was also extra special. We got to have a Mr. Adam LZ out. I think he brought a lot of personality to the event. He's great to have there. People loved having him out. Everybody's giving him high fives. And strangely enough, I don't think he got mobbed like he does everywhere else. Maybe that's a New Mexico thing. I don't know. I thought it was fantastic. But watching him drive both of the Zs was great. One Z obviously was better and more well prepared than the others. Broke a control arm in half, hitting Brandon Wicknick. It was a good weekend shredding the Zs. The Blue Z was on its brand new style up wheels, so super pumped to be partnered up with those guys. This is the best that Z has ever looked, and it looked even better out on the track with LZ driving it. First time LZ went out in my Z, he was driving, and I walked up to watch, and somebody's like double take, who the hell's in your car? Why aren't you driving? And then they were like, he's really shredding, and then I was like, God damn it. That's all right. It was good. Both of the Zs had heating issues all weekend. We tried to address them in the pits to the best of our abilities, but it didn't work. So I think I'm going to be going with a water and water wetter setup because they still just run coolant if they don't have blown head gaskets. Some other new things for this year was me driving my pro car. Oh, man. Driven my pro car at an event in 5+ years for more than like a lap, which again, thanks to Scottie Fox, I got to do. And I did laps on Friday, I did laps on Saturday, and I did laps on Sunday, and I pulled it back into the trailer. Driving that car on the track for the first time, even though I was just warming it up and getting the engine heat cycled, I was like almost in tears with how happy I was that I was getting to drive the damn thing. Upon entering the track, I was going to do a little drifting around the front oval, get the motor fully warmed up, and the gas pedal stuck on an 8mm head bolt that was coming out of the pedal stop and immediately went to full throttle, sending me straight off the track in third gear. I pulled it out of gear, and it just immediately pinned a red line and shut the car off. I was like, cool. Brand new motor, nothing like breaking it in at 10,000 RPM for no reason whatsoever. Got that issue taken care of. I had issues with the diff locking and unlocking randomly, which almost sent Adam LZ into a wall, and I was cringing so hard. So again, super stoked to have been driving the Formula D car out there, well, ex-Formula D car out there. It was so much fun to drive. The motor is great. The guy that actually runs the racetrack, Charlie, he actually put my motor together. He's been watching the program for a while, and he was like, we build these motors to do circle track stuff over and over and over again at as fast as they can go. Let me build you a motor. And he did, and it's fantastic. Thank you so much, Charlie, for slapping that together, and Mike for doing the heads, because he said those aren't part of the motor. That's different. Anyway, long story. Thank you to both of you for making it happen. So on top of having drifting for Friday night, we also had 5 metal bands, and the racetrack actually built a stage out of the old trailer that used to just hold tires and cones. Had it wired for electrical and lighting and all of this stuff, and the bands absolutely loved it. Huge thanks to those guys for coming out and absolutely shredding our faces off. And for letting my drunk ass get up on stage and make an idiot of myself on the microphone. On top of that, we still had dodgeball mosh pit, which is always awesome. And we had a freaking mechanical bull. So we had El Toro mechanical bull come out. I didn't think they were going to make it, and at the last minute they showed up, and it was awesome. I think LZ hurt his hand a little bit riding Das Bull, but, you know, you got to pay to play, baby. Now, the bonfire was lit as well. We tried to light it with fireworks and failed miserably at hitting the gasoline spots. Finally, somebody went over there with a blowtorch and a can of spray paint and got the thing lit, which then proceeded to lit the grass on fire that was next to it, and we had a small grass fire that was actually pretty large. And we maintained it and got it out. It was good to go. Everything was fine. The party raged on. The metal band stopped playing about 1:30 a.m. Then we just started walking around and drinking. There was burnouts, which I did not approve of, but they happened anyway because I couldn't stop them because they were on the other side of the pits and I couldn't make it there in time. Random happenings at this snow coast, as there are so many with every single no coast that we do. A gentleman got his earlobe bit off by a girl and went running into Brandon Wicknick's pit asking if he could hide from said girl. So that's pretty sick. That's a first. Another very inebriated woman face planted into the side of a trailer and sliced the side of her face open. A gentleman got very burnt and had to go to the hospital from opening up a coolant thing and sprayed all over his chest. He's fine. He was one of our drivers. Unfortunately, that does happen. Thanks, Brandon. A girl was passed out in the middle of the pits, got ran over by a scooter, and a complete tweaked out meth head fired off a gun in the pits. And I had to talk him down by telling him he was a hero instead of kicking his ass out, which would have made things way worse. There was a lot of body shots, that's all I'm going to say, that were going around the pits where things were happening. Brandon Wicknick, Nick Stuckey, and a big group of people, we walked around the track for no reason at 3:30 in the freaking morning. Hashtag track walk. So not only that, but we had the highest driver count that we've had so far. There was 128 cars at No Coast, my people. This was our biggest one yet, and not one person complained that there wasn't enough track time. I don't think people brought enough tires and or spare parts to continue. Anthony Sioka, our season champion, unfortunately got blasted. He had come to a stop to avoid an accident, and out of the smoke, somebody popped into him. There was literally nothing that could be done for that one. It's unfortunate, but that was our only major wreck. There were tons of offs and lots of dirt puffs coming up in random spots on the track, but hey, it's a demolition derby for a reason. The level of driving was awesome. We did a small top 16 competition. It was fan-freaking-tastic. We did team tandem, which I'm kind of disappointed in because there were literally only 2 teams that made the course. And it was really easy to judge though, so thanks guys for that. Still waiting on the final spectator count, so I don't have that for you unfortunately. But there was quite a few people there. I think a little bit more than last year. I don't think very much more than last year, but it was a good solid number. The crowd was into it. We were making fun of stuff. We were in it together, you know? Just keeping the people entertained. So if you'd like to join us for next year's No Coast, it's going to be our 10th anniversary of doing this. I'm going to try to pull out all the stops and go absolutely ham next year. So please come out and join us. It's going to be Labor Day weekend. I'm setting that date right now so nobody else makes a date anywhere in the Southwest near No Coast. Just throwing that out there. Putting it out there. 2020. No Coast Drift Party X. You better be there. I promise. It's going to be a good one. Anyway, like I said, not doing a scotch and a beer today because I'm hungover. I didn't have time to write a script. I didn't have time to film. And now I'm going to go to sleep for like 4 days until I can actually make it happen. Thank you to the drivers that came out for No Coast. Thank you to the fans that came to No Coast. Thank you to LZ for coming out. All the ex-pro drivers. We had John Yim out there. Will Parsons, we had Brandon Wicknick, Nick Stuckey. We had Dwayne Ramsey. It was so fantastic, and it's the one time a year I get to see all these guys in my hometown, and the level of driving was insane. So thank you guys all for coming out, and we'll see you at the X. Peace.